Hi, everybody. This is Ken Wilson. Once upon a time, I broadcast blues hockey. I always listen to Let's Go Blues Radio. It's everything you'll want as a blues fan. Oh, baby.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
Cut out the coffee, cut out those energy drinks that make you crash, and put yourself in a position to succeed with an energy boost from RockinThatIDLife.com. You'll be energized, focused, and you'll even experience an elevated mood for up to 6 hours. Check out RockinThatIDLife.com to learn more.
Get ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
The Blues score! Oh, baby! The Blues score! McKinnon shoots and scores! Portnoy ahead to Hall. He's got a breakaway. Safety shoots. He scores!
Oh, baby, do you believe it?
Scores in a drive. He scores!
Baby, Chris Pronger! Wow, what great goaltending! The Twister! Jacob hits the hit. Sellout crowd. Oh, baby!
Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
A team that was in last place. I try to imitate that voice, and I just can't do it. Welcome to episode 13 of season 14. This is episode number 494 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, put that cookie down now. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to Mike Burgoyne and Dustin Paul. Check out letsgoblues.com for links to our online shop, active Discord, and more. It's Sunday, December 29th, and we're streaming live to the masses. I just realized I don't have my camera mics on, so I'm turning those on now. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and like, follow, and subscribe. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder. I am joined by the man who makes every Christmas special, Bill Day. Kirk Price is facing allegations and will not be joining us. The agenda for tonight includes a preview of the Blues Sabres matchup, the upcoming Winter Classic preparations, and more on this blissfully entertaining edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. Mr. Bill Day, you are busy right now as we speak, watching would you say your second favorite sports team?
Pretty close, yeah. I'd say Blues is number one, and Liverpool at this point number two. But man, hard to beat the performance they're putting on this season. And I apologize if I'm distracted for the next 15 to 20 minutes. But it's in the bag.
What's their record?
They've only lost one game in the Premier League this year.
Wow.
Had a couple draws, so they're on fire. While everybody behind them, Man City has fallen apart, and I think everybody in the world outside of Man City and the UAE are probably pretty ecstatic about that. I know I am. But yeah, it's coming out of the festive fixtures. Liverpool's going to be sitting pretty handily up top, and they should have just had a fifth, but didn't. But yeah, it's a great year for them. They're also going into the second phase of the UEFA Champions League, top of the table there. So everything's just clicking perfectly. So,
man, why are you wasting your time with a Blues podcast? That sounds like way more fun to cover.
But yeah, it's still a long season to go. So, but right now I'm feeling really good.
Good, yes, as you should. Give me your Mount Rushmore of teams. Obviously, you got Blues and Liverpool. Who's the other two?
Montreal.
Okay.
I'm probably the Cardinals. The
Expos and Cardinals.
Yeah. The the Canadiens and the Cardinals.
Yes.
So I think and my Cardinals fandom is kind of on hiatus right now.
As is a lot of people's.
Yeah, it's after they let Pujols walk back in 2012. It I kind of let the flame die, and when he came back for his final year, I paid a little more attention, but still, I think I watched a total of 10 games that year, and they were all big moments for him. It was more about him than the team. So.
Did you watch the Apple TV game that
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yes. That's
Yep,
awesome.
So many people in St. Louis complaining about not being able to see that game, and I was able to watch it, and it was quite an amazing game.
Didn't get is how it was literally free. Like Apple TV was like, you don't need to subscribe, just turn on the app and it's there.
Yeah.
And people blew a gasket, and I'm like, it could not have been easier to watch.
Yeah. Well, even easy stymies people apparently. So
apparently. All right, man. Okay, yeah. Let me do my Mount Rushmore real quick. So obviously it's Blues.
Obviously,
I got to put the Cardinals in there. The Packers. I have the Packers up there, and then I'm wasting too much time on this. I'm gonna go with City. It's probably City.
Yeah. At this point, it's a a good safe bet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, quick announcement. We need to work this. I yelled at Kurt last week for not having the Let's Go Blues minute in his preamble or post-amble of the show. And here I am. I'm doing the exact same thing. So in the announcements, we'll talk about the Let's Go Blues minute. Just a quick refresh of what information's out that day. Comes out in the mornings. It's perfect for if you're got a short commute to work or whatever. Just check it out. Let's Go Blues Minute. You can find it on all the podcasting apps. Stay up to date with all things blues. Try to not post them the same day that we do a show. But this is a weird ass week. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be a show tomorrow. I have no idea. We'll see how it goes. Really weird week too, right? Because I think you're on the same boat that like you're going to, we're off New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then we got to go back to work for what, 2 days?
Yeah.
Weekend again.
Yeah, it's weird. I scheduled I scheduled from Christmas through the 3rd off, but I'm basically working a little bit every day just because we're so busy and have to make sure that people are getting things done. So it's weird, but definitely benefit for me not having to go to the office at least.
That's nice.
So but I always hate it when Christmas falls on a Wednesday and then New Year's falls on a Wednesday. So yeah, like I get the whole week off, which is great, so I'm not complaining. But it's just for me, it's just weird. Like we worked the Monday before Christmas, so that was odd, and then we're coming back for 2 more days, and then it's a weekend. It's just it just throws off my rhythm. And it's like, that Monday before Christmas, nobody got anything done. It's just a weird working day. Yeah, for us, it was a little different. We did get a lot done, but it, like you said, just very weird. Nothing.
If my boss is listening, I got so much done. It was ridiculous. Way more than anyone else. But anyway, so let's get to beers of the episode. This is of episode 494. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I am at JPotter94. Kurt is at CPrice12. And Bill, you are Billy Blue Note 33. We are in a similar boat today. It is 12:56 in the PM. And we are not drinking beers. I am drinking a lovely Dr. Pepper right now. I woke up and I was thinking that I wanted to open a Dr. Pepper right off the bat because I'm an adult. I'm allowed to do that. But then I thought, no, you should save it for the show. So that is what I'm doing.
Yes, if you limit your intake, that was the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good call there. I am also, like you go through all this stuff talking about our untapped things, and neither one of us can check in today because neither one of us are doing beers. I'm doing coffee. I'm doing the good stuff today. I am drinking, if I can get this in front of the camera, from PT's out of Topeka, Kansas, a Eagle Rare bourbon barrel aged coffee. So it's a Guatemala red bourbon with that was aged for 16 weeks. I think some bourbon barrels, Eagle Rare bourbon barrels, and it's quite tasty. Little something different. Bourbon barrel aging. They put the green coffee before it's roasted in there, so it absorbs more into the core of the bean before it's roasted. And yeah, I've had it done both ways. And I saw you and the missus were at the Reserve Roastery,
Yes.
over the holidays. One of my favorite places in Chicago. I think the first time I ever had barrel aged coffee was from them, and I'm pretty sure they do theirs post roast, and they might do it both ways, but very good stuff. I have a bag of that somewhere around here too. Probably a little too old at this point, but yeah, love me. I love bourbon. I love coffee. So it's like a marriage, made in heaven for me.
You totally reminded me that I went to Chicago in the time that since our last show. It just feels like it's been forever ago. But yes, last Saturday, the wife and I and my nephew went up to Chicago. Got this sweet hoodie.
Did you go up to Wrigleyville?
I did not. We were only there for a day. My nephew was begging me to take him. He wanted to go. I made the comment once, which was stupid. I've thought about just going to Chicago just to get pizza and then driving back in the same day. I told him that, and he was like, "We should just do this together. Like, we'll go up there for a day, we'll get a hotel, and we'll come back the next day, and you can get all the pizza you want the whole time you're there." And I'm like, cool. And then my wife was like, "I'm not going. That sounds lame." But then I found out that my nephew had made plans with friends. So it was like right when we got there at 2:00, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be heading off. So, I'm going to be out with friends all day. I'll be back by midnight." And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? So luckily my wife was like, "All right, if we can make a day of it, then I'll go." So we went to that Starbucks Reserve, which was really cool. They do a lot of experimental coffee drinks, a lot of experimental. They had an experimental alcohol bar.
Yep,
Which
the
was really
fourth
cool.
floor. Yeah,
Yep.
Finally made it to the fourth floor when we were there this summer, and had some good stuff. And you guys did the espresso martini flight.
Mm-hmm. That was very good.
That looked really great.
They had it was the holiday martinis, and the only one that both of us didn't like was the cinnamon one. We're just not cinnamon drinkers. It reminds me of Fireball, and I hate Fireball. So I think that's part of it. But yeah, so that was the only one we didn't like. But you had 4 of them, and the rest of them were phenomenal.
Yeah, that's super awesome. If you ever are in the Magnificent Mile area of Chicago, definitely check it out. 4 floors of coffee and food goodness, and yeah, big fan.
And I'll say too, I told the story on social media, but I'll share it here real quick. So whenever I go to Chicago, I always wear all Blues gear. And typically, if I know I'm going to be up in Wrigleyville, I'll wear a Cardinals hat or something too. So I went up there, full Jordan Binnington jersey, the Santa Blues hat, and I was in the Blackhawk store, of course, getting a bunch of looks. And as I'm going up to buy this hoodie, the lady, she goes to grab me the white bags, and she goes, "No, no, no, no." And then she goes and grabs the biggest, reddest, Blackhawkest bag she could find. And she goes, first she said, when I walked up, she goes, "Oh, is this all you're getting? Can I interest you in a new jersey, a new hat, a new way of life?" And I just started laughing. I was like, "Nice jab." And yeah, then she hands me this bag, and she's like, "Oh, well, enjoy carrying around a real logo today." And I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, this lady's awesome. Like, this is how I would be with a Blackhawks fan. So that was fun. It was funny having to carry around this giant, and like it was funny. My wife and I had a bunch of bags. Every now and then we would like mix them up, and every time though she'd grab the Blackhawks bag, and she's like, "Nope, you've got to carry this one." And I'm like, fine. So it was fun. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Gotta love the rivalry that,
yep.
Maybe a little cold right now, but it's the best rivalry I think we've ever had.
Agree. And then we got Matt Harris. Oh shit, I'm gonna pregame. He says, I just left brunch with mimosas. Didn't know I was actually prepping for the show. And also adds, because he is going out for his birthday. So a special happy birthday to Mr. Matt Harris. We fly out for Chicago tomorrow. If I think about it, I'll grab a pennant for y'all or something from the game. Again, that's why I went into the Blackhawks store. I was like, I got to get something while I'm here. And this was the only kind of team agnostic thing they had. So I was like, I'll get that because I'm not getting anything with a fucking Blackhawks logo on it. All right. Real quick, let's talk about the World Junior Championships, which have gotten underway in the past week. We've seen we've got 9 prospects in the mix. I think we talked about this maybe last week. Competing for 7 different countries. 6. I think it's 6. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's very exciting. So this has gotten underway in the past week. We've seen some very exciting games from guys like Dalibor Dvorsky. And then there's been, a couple crazy games like the United States beating Germany 10-4, Sweden beating Kazakhstan 8-1. And then, of course, Chechnya beating Kazakhstan yesterday 14-2, which was a crazy one. And I just wanted to comment on that one that Stancil for the Czechs, he did have 3 goals in that game and 2 assists. He led the entire game in points. So that's a pretty nice play there for Jakob Stancil. But Bill, how much of this have you watched, and have you had your eye on any certain prospects?
I have watched absolutely 0 because I no longer have NHL Network because I'm not paying for a platform that carries it. So a little bit bummed by it. It's one of my favorite things over the Christmas break, but this year not happening. I've caught some highlights in that, and how about Latvia? 3-2 shootout winners over Canada in what was being bandied about as perhaps the greatest upset in World Juniors history. So kind of hard to say that for a preliminary round game, but man.
I mean, come on though, beating Canada. That's
on
really
home
impressive.
ice.
Yeah, in Ottawa. Woo. That's crazy. Let's see, shootout. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at all the shoot. Oh, this went a while.
Yeah.
There was a lot of attempts in the shootout. No, that's awesome. Good for Latvia. And hey, you know what? We don't have any Canadians from the Blues prospects. So beat Canada. I want them to lose every game. Well, we have got take a quick break here, but we've got plenty to talk about as the Blues and Sabres take take the ice in about an hour. So we're going to preview that game, talk about some recent Blues games. But yes, we will. We'll be right back. You are listening to Jeff and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the pedal down.
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Put past the Hall. He shoots. He scores.
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. You know, the fun, energetic host of Let's Go Blues Radio. I know I give off a natural energy and cheerful glow, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I need a kick in the pants to get going. I've tried it all, from forcing myself to drink coffee to picking up an energy drink every morning, but none of it provided true, sustainable energy without crash. Luckily, my friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com told me about their product, Energy, which provides exactly what I need. The first thing I do every morning is fill up my shaker bottle with water and a small energy packet, and within minutes of drinking it, my day truly begins. I feel motivated to get going on my work and feel the mental focus take effect as I dive into what I'm doing. I don't crash, and I feel like $1,000,000 throughout the day. Reach out to Dustin today to experience how much better your professional life can be. Email him at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and get $10 off your first order. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and that email again is rockinthatidlife@gmail.com. Don't let a lack of energy keep you from being who you want to be.
Yes, and as you can see, there are a lot of different ways to stamp out thirst with refreshing Stag beer. Now, one of the most popular is this handy six-pack. People like the six-pack because it saves space in the refrigerator, lets them keep more good, cold Stag beer on hand. And you know, when you've got Stag on hand, you've got a mess.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Mary Woodruff Ponder, who's a wonderful lady in the chat, says, new day, new time. Yes, we're having a very not normal show today, doing a pregame show for an afternoon show, but or a game, but we just, again, with the week, it's just crazy. This was the best time we could do it. We've got Matt Harris. Any guesses on the Blues' outfits entering the Winter Classic? I'm betting Cards jerseys. We're going to talk about Jordan Binnington's mask in a little bit, but yeah, I think that's a safe bet. What do you think, Bill?
I think that's the tip right there. Is it's going to be something Cardinal centric.
Yep, it's going to have to be. And Matt Harris asks how we feel about the Freebird goal song. That's so sick. What is he referencing here? Do you know?
I've got to think it's World Juniors, but I since I haven't seen it, I don't know. Help us out, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, give us a little bit more context there. That's not something I'm familiar with. All right, so Blues and Sabres are battling here in a little bit, again in about an hour's first puck drop. For the Sabres, they snapped a 13-game losing streak recently. They are 13, 19, and 4 on the season. They come in with 2 wins in a row, most recently earning a 6-2 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks on Friday. So we thank you for that, Buffalo Sabres. Since the two teams last met on November 14th, the Sabres have gone 5-11-3. They rank 8th in the Metropolitan Division of the Eastern Conference. So for Buffalo, they need wins. We heard about they had a closed player meeting. They had a meeting with the coaches. The GM had a meeting with the players. Meetings everywhere. It sounds like one of our days, Bill. But yeah, it's not looking too good right now in Buffalo.
No, they've high expectations as always. And the last couple of years, I think they started off really hot and cooled off by this point in the year, but they've just never really gotten going this year. Tage Thompson out for an extended period with an injury. When he's been in, he's been pretty effective. One of my better goal scorers on my fantasy team. So I've paid a little attention to him this year. But yeah, the Sabres have just kind of been stuck in the mud and haven't been able to rack up the wins. So hopefully we can slow their roll after their 2-game little winning streak they've got going right now.
Yeah, this team the dumpster fire of the NHL right now. It's sad. I mean, I know Kurt likes to say that he loves watching them lose because of the O'Reilly trade, and fans will say they want it. So I know he likes that, but man, I always feel so bad for Sabres fans. This organization is an absolute mess. I saw on NHL Network, which obviously you didn't see, they were talking about the Sabres. It was during their 13-game losing streak. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Mike Johnson, said that basically he thinks there needs to be a trade for Buffalo. He says you've got Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power on your blue line, move one of those guys for a forward that can help Tage Thompson. Not a terrible move, but I mean, you think about the possibility of having, because they've signed both of them to long-term deals, having both those giant dudes as the core of your team for the next 8 years sounds pretty good, but it makes sense to make a lineup change if you can. But they're also locked into huge contracts.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the lineup that you posted in the outline here, with the salary cap numbers up the middle, it's just insane. You got Tage Thompson, who's worth every penny of that 7.1 that he's getting. Dylan Cousins, he's a damn good player, but is he a $7 million player? I don't know. Is that overpayment to get him out of Buffalo? And then Rasmus Dahlin, 11 million. Whew. That is a lot of cap hit. Plus Owen Power at 8.5. I don't know. I guess 8 million's now kind of the new ho hum number, right? So
yeah,
as long as you don't get that extra digit in there, it's not opening.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. They've done a lot with this team. I know Jordan Greenway, he's out today, but he's a guy they brought in recently the last couple of years. Blues know him well from his antics against them when he was with the Wild a couple of years ago in the playoffs. But yeah, like you said, I mean, they've got the talent, but they've just not been able to bring this together. They're bringing back this year Lindy Ruff, who was there forever and then got fired, and now he's back again. They're basically trying everything in Buffalo. So we'll see how they do today. They got to get a kick in the ass eventually here, and I just hope it's not today.
Yeah. You wonder how many Sabres fans are going to be tuned into this, because I believe the Bills are playing right now. So
yeah, a weird time for. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do Canadian teams or St. Louis or I don't know. I'm trying to think of another city that doesn't have a Columbus. Like not even Columbus. They're big NFL fans, but still, it's weird to have Buffalo in the middle of the day on a Sunday.
Right. It's weird to have a non-conference game right after Christmas. I know the Blues are pretty much like, I think we have 6 non-conference games in the second half of the season, or after the new year. So it's just been a bizarre season like that all the way around. But yeah, why would you schedule the Sabres? Like, the Blues totally make sense, right? They're going to be playing in the Winter Classic in 48 hours, so you get them the early Sunday game. And that makes sense, but find a better opponent.
Yeah, very, very odd. So Cam Fowler, as long as he dresses, which every indication is that he will be, this will be his 999th career NHL game. So the projection was that his 1000th game will be the Winter Classic. So again, as long as he stays healthy, that will be the case. So quite a special thing for Fowler, who I think has been awesome this year so far. He has complimented Parayko very well. He just had his best offensive game with the Blues so far, with one goal and 2 assists. But I've just loved his play, and I think he's been a very good addition for the Blues so far. Now, Doug, don't go sign him to a 7-year deal, but he's been good.
Right, he's on the wrong side of 30 for that for your favorite deal. Like Doug has like that standard defenseman contract, 6 years, 6.5. it can be changed. You do know that, Doug.
Yep.
So, but no, Fowler has looked great. Just I remember after his third game with the Blues, Joey Vitale was predicting he would be running the power play before too long, and he has been, and they've been looking much better.
The movement, I think I talked about this maybe last week, but whenever the hell our last show was, the movement on the power play, they're still not generating as many chances as I'd like, but man, seeing the way that they're drop passing and moving and skating through the middle, like we didn't see that team doing that at the beginning of the season. So that power play, I think it's just a matter of time that they're really going to start clicking a little bit more. Dylan Holloway, who's been a big part of that power play, he has 5 points for 3 goals and 2 assists in the past 2 games. And obviously that includes his first career NHL hat trick that he had against Detroit. So Dylan Holloway, it's funny. We all talked about when the contracts were signed. We were talking about how you threw in Holloway because it's like, well, if we don't get the guy we want in Broberg, at least we're still getting a decent forward. And even at the start of the year, I think everybody had that mindset. But now it's like Dylan Holloway has been pretty damn good for this offense. Like, yes, I think Broberg is still going to be the guy that's more of a mainstay around here, but Dylan Holloway has done nothing except play phenomenally this season. I mean, every game he's hitting a new career high with everything he does.
Right. Had that slow start. Took him until the first game against Carolina before he got on the score sheet with a beautiful move. One of the between the legs kind of moves. But he's been catching fire lately and rewarded very well with that the hat trick against Detroit. Yeah. That first goal he had, that snipe from out top, like between the blue line and the top of the circles, long way out, knuckled, but it was a hell of a shot.
Yep. Yeah, I was at that game, and he was buzzing so much in the first period. I remember I turned to my brother and was like, Dylan Holloway's going to score tonight. Like, no question in my mind. And he did, because I'm smart is what I'm trying to say. But no, I'm mostly saying when that dude is on, he's on. Like, you can tell, like, okay, he's dialed in tonight. He's going to get at least an assist at some point.
Yeah, he had, a 7-game point streak at one point, and lost it against the Oilers? He lost that, I think.
That sounds right. Maybe it was the Flames.
Yeah, might have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on fire and cooled off a little bit, but now he's heating back up again. So looking for big things out of him today and on Tuesday.
Matt Harris over in the YouTube chat says our top 3 forwards are Hollywood, Kyrou, and Thomas. Our top 2D are Broberg and Parayko. Those offer sheet fuckers have been difference makers this year. Yes, they have been. Yeah, I think I can agree with that. The top 3 forwards being Hollywood, Kyrou, Thomas. I think Jake Neighbors deserves a mention there, but yeah, I mean, I think you can't argue that Holloway and Broberg have been major additions this offseason. And, it's funny. We said, like, yes, we know we're overpaying them, but that was kind of the point. Like, they're earning those paychecks right now. Like, they're both playing at the level that they are signed to, which I don't think anyone expected.
No, not this early on. And, we talked a bit about how it seems like the Sabres are paying quite a bit for what they've got through the middle. Those contracts are looking pretty good right now for the Blues.
Yep. So projected lineup, a couple notes. It looks like, Alexander Texier missed Friday's game with an illness. He played very well against Detroit. I think that was a real rough go for him that he had to miss the next game because he was flying against Detroit. But he could be an option to return for the Blues after rejoining the team for Saturday's skate. Coach Jim Montgomery confirmed that Texier could rejoin the top line upon his return, and that would push Jake Neighbors down to the third line. Right now, that top line is Neighbors, Thomas, and Buchnevich. But yeah, we saw the Thomas, Buchnevich, Texier line against Detroit, and he was flying all over the ice.
Yeah, had great goal on the 2-on-1, sniped it over Talbot's glove. Just absolutely perfect inside the post. But yeah, he was. Holloway gets the headline with the hat trick, and he had a great game. But I thought Texier was probably the most impressive forward on the Blues.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Radek Faksa, who's only played in one game since sustaining a cut near the groin, which that was terrifying to watch, on December 10th in Vancouver. He could potentially draw back for the Blues on Sunday. Montgomery said, quote, Faksa, he looks better in practice. He's making the steps, but we've got to see how he responds. That was a pretty hard 45-minute skate, so we've got to see how he responds to it. So right now, the bottom line has been Toropchenko, Matthew Joseph, and Nathan Walker. If Fox is ready to go, I do think he does crack this lineup. I don't know who you take out. Maybe Matthew Joseph, maybe Nathan Walker, probably one of those two.
I'm always looking at Sundqvist for a maintenance day.
Yeah.
I expect Sonny will be in on Tuesday, so maybe give him today off if Fox is ready to go. You probably want to give Fox the opportunity today to test it and see if he's ready, and then have your best possible lineup in for the big game on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because I think they've literally said that Sundqvist, with his surgery he had, is told basically you're not allowed to do back-to-back games. So you're gonna have to sit. Excuse me. You have to sit in one of those games. And I know it's not a back-to-back, but if you're that concerned about his hip? Is that what it is?
No, knee, reconstructed knee.
That's right, knee. Yeah, if you're that concerned about his knee, I could see it being like, we want you to enjoy the Winter Classic on Tuesday. So why don't you sit today, make sure you're healthy, and then that we'll get you back on the lineup for the outdoor game. Excuse me. All right. So talking about how's Liverpool looking, by the way?
It's over 5-0.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Great.
two of your Mount Rushmore teams get you a win today.
Yeah, that's all last year. It seemed like whenever one would lose, the other would lose. So this year's been a little bit of a different story with Liverpool not losing much at all. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Big clean sheet away from home, and now they get. I think they're off until Sunday when they host the rivals, Man United. So who are not having a great season yet again. So looking forward to that.
Good. Well, for this game today, we are looking at a possible defensive lineup with Fowler and Parayko, Broberg and Falk, and then Suter and Tyler Tucker, which is what I wanted to talk with you about. So again, in our last show, that was the day that they traded P.O. Joseph, and Kurt had no idea and went live. And so he found out on air. But
that may or may not be the allegations.
Yes, right. Yeah. But yeah, so we were speculating who do you call up, who play, and we're like, okay, you probably call up like a Leo Loof or somebody like that, or get Matt Kessel back up here. Yeah, they didn't do that. They called up Tyler Tucker. So that was something we even talked about, like, just don't let it be Tucker. And he came up and instantly had a horrible game against Tampa. Walked on the first goal. He was a -2. He had, analytically, he had the worst game score of any player on the ice that night. Just a bad luck. Him and Perunovic paired together, did not play well. He's been better since.
Right.
He did not play the next game, but he played against, I think he played against Detroit, right? And then he played against Nashville the other night. And he's been okay, but
right.
Cause for alarm when you see him have such a bad game out of the gate against Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's dressing over Perunovic, I thought the games again down in Florida, like don't you probably want your speed game, and you don't want the slowest guy in the organization out there. And Tampa took advantage of him for sure. I think the one place he's looked okay, like you said, he's gotten better, but having him in the Nashville game made a little more sense. And he stepped up with the after the Lazan hit and dropped the gloves with him. So that's what one of the things that he brings that not a lot of players, maybe Shen and Neighbors will do it, but he's the big beef on the back end that's going to do it, and he did it. So at least he played that role. But yeah, I'm still thinking we're better with him not in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he came up and had a couple good games last year. First game of the season, scored the first goal for the Blues. And then when he came up the first time, he had some nice moments 2 seasons ago. But yeah, I think at this point, I'm ready to move on from Tyler Tucker. Again, I'm fine with him being down in the AHL and being this, good leader in the clubhouse, but I just don't think he's an NHL defenseman, personally. I just think the foot speed's not there. Again, yes, hitting, fighting, defending teammates, great. All that is great. But if you're going to do that, use up a forward spot. You need your 6 defensemen to be 6 reliable defensemen. And honestly, I mean, I don't know if he's ever experimented on the wing, but if you can get Tyler Tucker on the wing to do that stuff, maybe it's not a problem. But yeah, as your 6th defenseman, it's a liability out there.
Yeah, and I think we haven't seen that the 7 defenseman thing since Berube left, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, if you feel the need to have his physical presence in a game, that probably makes more sense than putting him back there. And against fast teams, right? I think if you can draw them in against slower teams and older teams like the Predators, it probably isn't going to be as big of a liability. But
yeah, and let's also remember that Tampa, he was only in for illness. Broberg could not go day of, so they only had the other defenseman that they had just called up, so they put Tucker in. But I thought, right there, that's why I don't want Tyler Tucker on this roster, even as a 7th defenseman, because those guys are going to draw into the lineup. And I don't know. Again, he's been fine so far, but I don't know. Again, I could take him or leave him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think best case scenario for at least from our standpoint is to let him get some NHL time, look good, and then if they put him back through waivers, he gets claimed, or maybe you can make a small trade. Future considerations, him to somebody else, and but yeah, long term, I don't see him being a cornerstone of this D.
Yep, agree. Joe Schmo on YouTube says, pregame now, you guys are sneaky. I don't think we want to be sneaky. We want people to find us. So hopefully it wasn't too sneaky. That was not by design. Daniel H in the YouTube chat says, depressed on how West Ham played, but oh well, go Blues. Hopefully I can get that W. Apparently West Ham did not play well.
No, that they were Liverpool's opponents today.
Yeah.
So it was the I mean, they're showing highlights now. One of the goals went off of a West Ham player's head. Hard shot from Trent outside the box and off the dude's head, and wrong footed the goalie. So nothing he could do. But yeah, their D got chewed up tonight. And yeah, beautiful game. Liverpool's on fire. West Ham still.
Daniel.
Decent team.
You got beat by, from what I'm told, is one of the best teams in the Premier League right now. So shouldn't have been too surprising.
Right now.
The best. There you go. The best. So in goal today, we will see Jordan Binnington for the Blues. I don't know who's in goal for Buffalo. Last I looked, it said Luukkonen was the probable starter.
Yeah, that's all I've been able to find myself too. So, I that's one thing I will say. I've not found super great content, as robust content on Blue Sky for hockey as Twitter, and I've completely shut down Twitter at this point. So let's keep getting people moved over, and we'll have better access to this information.
I am now over on Blue Sky. I'm not using it as much as I'd like, but I am now over there as well. So if you have not started following me, you can find me at jpotter94. You're a Billy Blue Note over there, right?
Yes, same handle.
Yep, there you go. So, talking about Jordan Binnington, he revealed his new Winter Classic goalie mask, and we are going to show that to you. All right. Now. So, you can see, first of all, it's the classic kind of blue and yellow, or blue and gold. And he's got like the brick set up in the top of it, which we'll look at here in a minute. But the big kicker from this, he has a bunch of Cardinals legends on here, including a guy we've already talked about today. But yeah, I thought a very cool looking mask for Jordan Binnington. Obviously, Bill, we want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's an absolute thing of beauty. Dave Gunnarsson outdoes himself every time he comes up with a new design. And yeah, the one thing though, that the Wainwright, that almost looks like McGuire in the face. So it's more,
yeah.
it's I love the effect, right? It's like pencil drawing for the Cardinals players in black and white on the background. Clearly Pujols and Molina are, who they are, but yeah, Wainwright kind of looks a little bit like Mark McGuire. But yeah, all of this, like the icicle dripping from the blue notes, right, from each of the different leaves of the blue note, or feathers, if you will, absolute beauty. And I think my favorite piece, you kind of mentioned it before, is the top of the helmet with the brick wall, Wrigley Field, with a little bit of green ivy at the very top. That's a different design aspect, bringing green into a Blues jersey. But yeah, this thing's an absolute thing of beauty.
Yeah, I was impressed, like you said, with the level of detail. When you look at the etchings of the players, I mean, that is Pujols' swing that you see, and that clearly looks like Yachty. And now that you say it, unfortunately, yes, Adam Wainwright does look a little bit like Mark McGuire in that picture. But
I mean, it's the face, the pitch. Like, he's clearly getting ready to drop Uncle Charlie there, and it's that captures it great. But yeah, it's absolute thing of beauty. Can't wait to see it on the ice on Tuesday. Assuming he's going to get the start. He's getting the start.
Yeah, I gotta think he is. So yeah, you mentioned it already, but this was created by artist David Gunnarsson. Excuse me. The mask features images of St. Louis Cardinals legends Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright. Excuse me, along with the bricks and ivy that define Wrigley Field, the venue where the St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks will meet outdoors. So yeah, just a nice, clean look. Is this trolling Cubs fans, or is this just an homage to the baseball aspect?
I think it's just an homage to the baseball aspect. We could consider it trolling if they didn't win in 2016 or whenever it was that they finally broke the curse. But no, I think it's just it's an homage to the fact that they're playing in Wrigley Field and building in the design element of Wrigley Field at the top. Yeah, and I want to say that Pujols swing. I don't know. That may be from his final season, but yeah, I would have loved it had he gone back to the Lidge home run in
One of my
04,
favorite
was it?
plays all time.
I was asleep. I gave up on that
Oh.
game. I hate myself so much to this day for that.
Oh man, that was one of the craziest moments ever in baseball for me. So have you heard about the? Okay, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here. I'm having
Right.
voice
I'll
issues.
I'll vamp. So Ponder's clearly dealing with some allergy stuff, or maybe
Yes.
he got the COVID from Chicago.
No.
But yeah,
No.
you good?
So, yeah, I'm good. So, yeah. What I was gonna say was, I fucking forgot.
You have COVID.
I got COVID brain. Oh, the home run. We're talking about the Pujols home run. So okay, have you heard of the 9x9x9 challenge?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's something that's literally crazy and it's on my bucket list. Okay. So basically what it is you do 9 innings of baseball and you drink 9 beers and eat 9 hot dogs. And you got to do it inning by inning. So, if you do this, you're supposed to do it in a ballpark. But dude, think about that. That's going to be hundreds of dollars that you're spending.
Right.
So,
Unless you're doing it at a minor league ballpark.
yeah, we were talking about that. We could go to the Gateway Grizzlies or whatever they are now.
GMC Stadium or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Used to be
So we
right
thought
by
about
my
that.
house back in the day.
Yep. So we thought about doing that. But I came up with the idea we should rewatch that game specifically with the Pujols home run. And then have everybody over, grill a bunch of hot dogs, have beer ready, you maybe get a keg, I don't know, and just have a day of it. And I'm like, I would have a lot of fun with that because it'd be a lot cheaper. And we're watching a game we know we're gonna love the ending to. It is on YouTube, the whole game is. So something I'm thinking about doing. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That sounds like a blast. I guess not summer show material. Could record some of it, but
yes, I don't know if the whole thing would be worth watching.
Yeah. just when you get to the puking part.
Yeah, right. All right, so we're about 20 minutes till game time, so we'll go through a couple more items here about the Blues. So big game the other day with defeating the Predators in a wild affair 7-4. That was Thomas getting 2 goals. He has 18 points, 6 goals and 12 assists in the past 12 games. Cam Fowler, we mentioned earlier, he got his first goal and 2 assists. First 3-point game with the Blues, a goal and 2 assists. Jordan Kyrou had a goal and assist, and all of a sudden, everything looked doom and gloom after the Florida teams, and now they are suddenly 2-0-1 in their past 3 games.
Yeah, I mean the Panthers game was an overtime loss, right? So they got a good result, I think. Heartbreaking that we had the lead and gave it up, but yeah, coming back, beating Detroit, shutting Detroit out, getting their coach fired, that was huge. But then big Friday night game in St. Louis against the Predators, who for some reason we haven't seen yet this season because we're getting all the Eastern teams done. And yeah, they showed up big time for this game. Loved how they started. And you mentioned Thomas's stat line, 2 goals, 1 assist. He set the tone early, pressing Nashville's D. Neighbors through the check that caused the turnover or the bad pass back to the D, and then Brady Shea tripped over the blue line and allowed Thomas to come in and made that short side snipe. Tomer had a similar opportunity early against Detroit, but was unable to score. But he's been pushing up and pressing the D early, and I like that. Hopefully, we get to see a little bit more of that tonight. This afternoon.
Yes, this afternoon. Yes, man, he is. You can't say much more about Robert Thomas right now than what you said. I mean, he has been phenomenal. And again, it just goes to show when he goes down or he has an off game, this Blues offense just is not rolling. he is the engine that rolls this team. And we've seen him go out there. Obviously, he's your top line center, but we've seen him go out for defensive zone faceoffs. He's out there on the PK. I mean, he's doing everything right now, and he just cannot be kept off the score sheet. And yeah, I thought Saros had a real bad look in this game. I've not been impressed with him overall. I think he has some really extremely good stretches, and other games he is just absolute dog shit. I thought he was very rough in this game. He gave up, what was the stat line for him? 5 goals on 15 shots.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of when Kurt and I went to Nashville for that early game a couple years ago, and the Blues hung 7 on him. He never looked comfortable. When he's on, he looks bigger than his 5'11" stature. He looked 5'9" in this game, and the Blues just took him apart.
So you mentioned early on the Blues looked good. They scored twice in the first 3 minutes of the first period. Thomas made it 1-0 at 1:20 when he intercepted a Gustav Nyquist pass in the neutral zone and went in alone on Saros after Nashville defenseman Brady Shea fell down, which you mentioned. Zach Bolduc made it 2-0 at 2:47 on a wrist shot from the top of the right circle using a defenseman as a screen. The thing that worried me in this game, because the Blues seemed to they would really take control. I mean, they went up 2-0 very quickly, and then when it was 3-1, they still looked like they were in control, but then they scored another goal, and then they score another goal. It just keeps going back and forth, and I feel like, man, this cannot be a letdown game for the Blues. You had the lead so many times. 4 different times the Predators were able to cut the deficit to 1. But could never get that tying goal. But they were certainly pressing throughout this game.
Yeah, when it got to 5-4, I got nervous, and I think Andrew Brunette got confident, and when the Blues added the 6th goal, you could just see the frustration on his face, like he knew that was it. And yeah, the Preds played a really strong game. Blues defense was not great. Hofer was solid, but anytime you wind up giving up 4 goals, it's not your best effort. Stamkos goal, terrible coverage by the Blues in the defensive zone. 4 guys in the corner and left Steven fucking Stamkos alone in the circle for a pass from Marchessault behind the net. Snipe every time. But at the end of the day, their goaltending was that much worse than ours, and our offense was that much better than theirs. So,
yep. Cam Fowler had 5 of the Blues' 19 blocked shots. It was his first multi-point game since February 15th, 2024 with the Ducks against the Senators, where he also had a goal and 2 assists. Goes without saying, 7-4 final, highest scoring game of the season. There was a lot about this game that I liked. Jake Neighbors has been a lightning rod of bad hits this year.
Mm-hmm.
He got the one from Sam Bennett, and then what was the guy's name that hit him?
Jeremy Lauzon.
Yeah. I don't know. They both were bad. I didn't like either of them. I'm not going to sit here and say they should have been suspended, but I don't like that both of them only warranted 2 minutes.
Right.
I think they both could have at least been double minors, if not majors.
Yeah, I thought that the Lauzon hit should have been a major, because he continued through the hit after Neighbors was already going down, drove him into the boards, and I didn't like how Neighbors looked on the bench afterwards. Clearly, that he looked like he had his bell rung, and usually that means concussion, but he powered through it. Not my favorite thing to see, just because we're talking about, the brain, right? We don't ever want brain injuries. And that's why I think that these hits should be punished more than they are. Obviously, they did the 5-minute call so that they could do a video review. And I think that really minimizes the chance. Once they came back and said no, it's just a 2-minute minor, because they went to the video review. I think that takes George Peros off the hook from going back and looking at it.
Yep.
Right. And I thought that was easily a 5-minute major. And had they just called it a 2-minute and let it go, maybe we're talking a fine from him. But yeah, hate to see
I just
two
I
hits
get
on him like that.
I get why they call the 5-minute so they can have the review. I guess maybe my problem is, imagine this, I've got a problem with an NHL rule. I get that you want to have that in place. You're not having to review every single penalty. But to me, when you call it 5 minutes, to me, it's you need conclusive evidence to change that. Like, you don't call it 5 minutes because you're like, we got to take a review. We got to review this. To me, it's this was egregious enough to call it 5 minutes. Now let's go look at it on tape. And I don't know. To me, it's like I didn't see any justification for why that wasn't 5 minutes. I didn't like the call. I thought when he came out, even I was watching the Predators broadcast, and they even said, like, I don't see why you would take off 3 minutes here. Like, and I was like, yeah, 100%, even the Predators announcers. And then they came back and it was 2 minutes.
Right.
Like, come on.
You want more than just, it's been confirmed that it's just a 2-minute minor, right? Explain your thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get that.
Nope. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. And then, of course, which, hey, talking good about Tyler Tucker, steps up very next chance he gets, goes after Lazan, has a pretty nice bout with him. But I also think that's funny because what's that?
A lot of kidney punches.
Yeah, a lot of they like the body shots.
Blows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that's funny too, because like I said, with the NHL taking a dirty hit down to 2 minutes and letting that player stay in the game, you're asking for someone to either give him a dirty hit back or start a fight, which are two things you're trying to stop. So just make the right calls, guys. Like, I appreciated the fight and I appreciated Tucker going after the guy, but to me, that should have never been an option because he should have been thrown out of the game.
Right. Yeah. You get the code, give the code a chance to dust itself off and play a role in this game. But yeah, not the most impressive fight, but
we'll take it.
It's Friday night. The fans love it. So
Yep. Yeah. Friday during the holidays, everyone was juiced up at Enterprise Center that night. But yeah, this was a great win. You mentioned it, the Blues not facing the Predators yet, which is ridiculous. So getting a win against them, especially with how rough they've had this season, getting a nice little win and putting up a 7 spot on them is always great. But happy to see the Blues taking care of business in the Central Division, which is something they're going to have to do a lot of down the stretch here.
Right. And you don't want to give any life to the Predators. They obviously have a talented roster that just hasn't been able to put it together. You don't want to be the team that gives them the oxygen to get up off the mat, right?
Yep. Joe Schmo in the chat says the Blues need a streak, at least a little one, beat the bad teams, steal points where possible. Otherwise, yeah, I agree. If they could just go on like to get a little cushion from the 500 mark, if they could just go on a little bit of a push and go, I don't know, 6 games above 500, I would feel much more confident in this team's chances.
Yeah, absolutely. With some of the playing some of the lesser teams, 3 straight games against teams that are in the bottom 5 in the league. I mean, the Sabres are last in So they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference, just like Detroit. So 4 games, really, right? Detroit, and Buffalo are both sitting at 30 points. And then the Blackhawks are at 26, Predators at 29. Like, we are literally playing the 4 worst teams in the league in 4 straight games. You got to get 8 points out of that stretch. And
Yeah.
so far, so good. Don't
Yep.
shit the bed this afternoon.
Yes, Oregon, Chicago, which would be rough because Chicago has never won a Winter Classic game. So let's not let this be their first.
Correct. Don't let Bedard be the one that can figure out how to win one.
Yep.
And I correct myself. So they're like bottom 6 teams because San Jose is at 28 and Anaheim is at 30. So on par with Buffalo and Detroit. So
Okay.
but all bottom feeders, got to beat them.
Yep. Well, Waterbug in the chat here says DFO just confirmed UPL a second ago. That sounds like company jargon, folks, but it is not. UPL would be the goalie.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. That's not right.
Luukkonen.
Luukkonen.
And
yeah, DFO. Who's DFO? Oh, Daily Faceoff. Daily Faceoff. There you go. Yep, cool. So, yes, Daily Faceoff has confirmed that UPL will be a goalie today in this game. Let's talk about the Blues. This is a point where I was just going to like steam through the next 3 games because we're coming up on time here. But we got to mention it. We beat Detroit. So, even though Detroit sucks, it's always fun to get a win, especially in Detroit. Binnington and Holloway led the Blues to a 4-0 victory in Detroit just before the holiday break. Just after the holiday break, the Red Wings announced that they fired coach Derek Lalonde and replaced him with Todd McClellan. So I applaud Detroit Red Wings for not firing this man right before the holiday break. At least he got to have a little bit of family time before some bad shit happened. So thank you, Detroit, for doing that. But people did also forget with this that they lost to the Blues, and it was basically the next day he got fired. So just with a holiday break mixed in there.
Yeah, and so Bob Bugner, who ran their penalty kill, was also relieved of his duties. Trent Yanni brought in, and I believe St. Louis's own and my former carpool pal Jay Verdi retained his assistant coach job there. So
good to hear. Holloway did score his first NHL hat trick in this game, as we mentioned. Jordan Binnington made 19 saves for his second shutout of the season and 17th as an NHL goaltender. He surpassed Glenn Hall for 4th most shutouts in Blues history. Colton Parayko and Robert Thomas, of course, each had 2 assists in this game. So, yeah, this was a fun game. I mean, I don't want to say it was that fun. Shots were 19-20. 2019. It wasn't that great of a game, but with it being the 23rd, right before Christmas, you got a Red Wings date on the calendar. You go in and you beat the hell out of them. That makes for a great game to me.
Yeah. I listened to this one for the most part. Listened to the first period, driving out to my mom's, and then didn't get a chance to get the game on. Well, I guess a little bit of it while I was visiting with her, and then listened to it on the way home, and obviously caught up on the highlights later. But I'd say that the Blues could have easily had a much bigger scoreline. Detroit's defense was atrocious. Although we only got 21 shots on goal, Talbot played very well. Both goalies had a couple of pretty big saves in this game. If we would have got around to save of the week, which we'll get back to after the first of the year, we promise, I would have gone with Binnington on Andrew Kopp in the, I believe it was the second period. There's a one-timer that came across, and Binner had a great push, got the glove on it, knocked it down, and covered it. I thought the save of the game, though, went to Talbot, 2-on-1, Kyrou and Thomas. Kyrou looks shot and throws the pass across. Thought Talbot did a great job of anticipating the pass. Didn't play the pass, but anticipated it, kicked himself across, and got the full extension to keep the shot from going in. The Blues could have easily had 3 or 4 more goals, but Talbot played a very strong game despite giving up 3.
They're scoring some goals in bunches right now, so hopefully that continues. Because again, like you said, you got to get a win here against Buffalo, and then Chicago. You got the national spotlight, and Chicago's not a good team. So hopefully they can continue to pound some goals into the net. And also wanted to mention we kind of passed over in the Nashville game Colton Parayko's shorthanded empty net goal. Wow, that was awesome. You could see the surprise on his face. He was like, "Whoa, that went in."
Yeah, it's what I think Jamie Rivers called it a pool shot. Off of a stanchion, and then it got a good roll. Right, it was probably going to go wide, but came up on edge and went dead center. Awesome to see.
So in the other 2 games since our last time speaking with you, we've mentioned the Florida trip. Blues go 0-1-1 on that trip before going to Detroit. Panthers rally back to beat the Blues 2-1 in OT. And then before that, the Lightning defeated the Blues 3-1 in Tampa Bay. Goaltending, to me, is the biggest storyline with these 2 games. I thought Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky both played very well for their teams. And if you read any of the quotes afterward, Jim Montgomery, Braden Shen, they talked in both those games about how they thought they played really, really well, just could not score. And at the same time, I don't know if you'll agree, Bill, goaltending wasn't the greatest for me on the Blues side. I thought Binnington, I don't want to say he played awful in the Tampa game, but he didn't play great.
No.
And especially that last shot going in, I think it was just a mercy. Let's get him out of here. It's not his night. And then Hofer plays well against the Panthers, but I feel like the goal that went in from Alexander Barkov was pretty weak.
Talking about the OT winner. Yeah, I would agree with that. I was not surprised when Binner got pulled against Tampa. He did not look like he was on his game. The team looked flat in front of him, and the third goal was like, this is not good. Get him out of there. And Monty saw it, pulled him. Like you said, Hofer came in, had a great game after that, and then played well enough to earn a point in Florida. But I think the last Hofer had been on a little bit of a heater going into that trip, and I liked his game against Tampa and Florida, but the game the other night against Nashville, would like to have seen him come up with a couple more of those saves, but so good fun run and gun post-Christmas game in the home barn on a Friday night. Can't fault him too much.
Nope, I agree. And again, I don't think he played awful against Nashville. It's just not his best game we've seen. And we'll see what we get from Jordan Binnington today. And like you said, I think barring a complete collapse today, I think we're going to see Binnington the next 2 games. So we'll see. I think they're going to give him the Winter Classic start. Either way, next up for the Blues. So we're going to watch the Blues here in a minute, playing the Buffalo Sabres here in St. Louis. And then the Winter Classic is on Tuesday, December 31st in Chicago at Wrigley Field. That game time is 4 o'clock. I also want to mention we've talked about possibly doing a pregame show for that one as well. Maybe a post game, maybe a New Year's show. I don't know. But we're actually going to have another show this week, just with the craziness of the holidays. It made it hard to schedule this. So, Bill, I don't know what your plans are, but I would say probably a post game or a pregame show somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think probably better for a pregame for me on Tuesday, but this was
perfect. We're at an hour 15. If we can do this again, I'm down.
Yeah, 100%, and I'll get to sport my Winter Classic Binner jersey for that show, which I meant to get it up on the wall there, but
oh well,
scrambling a little bit before the show.
Surprise us this week.
Yeah.
Surprise us on Tuesday if we do it then. And then after the Winter Classic, the Blues will play the Senators at 7 o'clock on Friday, January 3rd. I will be at that game, so that'll be fun. Saturday, January 4th in Columbus at 6, and then Tuesday, January 7th, they play in Minnesota at 7, and then they come home that Thursday, but we'll have another show by then as well. So we'll get to that later. Bill, any closing thoughts as the game is getting ready to begin?
No, let's have an injury-free competitive game today and go into Winter Classic. Hopefully we'll be talking about another strong Blues victory and looking forward to the big game on Tuesday.
Yep. And we will be talking with you hopefully before then. But thanks to our amazing sponsors, StrikeWithMike.com and RockingThatIDLife.com. That will wrap up episode 13 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We'll talk to you next week. For Bill Day and Kurt Price, who's facing allegations, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues. Beat the Sabres.
Let's go Blues. I got to go change jerseys.
Yes, me too.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the score. They are quite a hockey team, my friend.